Good Sunday morning. I'm First Alert Meteorologist Chrissy Kohler. We do have a tornado warning in effect now that has just been issued for parts of the upstate, and we're going to get to that right here. This is the tornado warning that has been issued for parts of Oconee as well as Anderson, Hart, and Franklin counties there, or excuse me, parts of Hart, parts of Franklin, and parts of Stevens County. You can see it right here on your map, that area shaded in the red. These are the areas where if you are in that tornado warning, you need to be getting to your safe space now. This is going to go until 5:45 this morning, so we've got about 30 minutes on this warning here. This is a thunderstorm that is capable of producing a tornado. The particular cell is located northwest of Carnesville, and this is moving very quickly. So again, if you are in this warning area, you need to be getting to your safe space immediately because this is going to move through the area very quickly. A lot of you will get that all clear very quickly as well, but we are going to be watching this move very quickly out of northeast Georgia and into South Carolina as fast as very, very quickly here. So that means that you need to be getting to your safe space. That's the inside interior rooms, the lowest level of your home. If you are in a mobile home, you need to be getting out of that mobile home and headed to a ditch, to a building with a foundation. This is very important to be getting to those safe spaces. If you've got bike helmets that you can grab quickly and still get to your safe space, grab those, grab the pets, grab your kids, get them up and get them going and get them to the safe space now. As we take a look at exactly where, I'm going to flip on the velocity here so that you can see exactly where we're looking at this potential rotation. And right now, it's not a terribly strong signal showing up, but this is a storm that is capable of producing a tornado. So we're not necessarily seeing ground truth to this, but there is that possibility that we could be seeing some of that potential rotation with this particular storm. So again, we're keeping a very close eye on this tornado warning that is continuing to track very quickly to the northeast. It's moving, or east, excuse me, at about 70 miles per hour. So the location is going to be near Carnesville, is where that particular rotation to the northwest of Carnesville. So it's going to be, let me grab my little draw tool here and show you that this is the rotation that we're watching here, that potential rotation right there that's moving to the east at about 70 miles per hour. We do not have confirmation that this is on the ground, but that doesn't mean that you don't need to be getting to your safe space. It is very important to take those precautions in case this is coming through again, because it's coming through very quickly. You want to make sure that you're in that safe space. This is going to be continuing. So let me put the track on this and show you exactly where this is going to be headed and how quickly it's going to arrive into your area. So I'm going to lift this up here a little bit, flip it back over to the radar and show you what we're looking at with this track on this particular line here. So we're looking at this particular cell that is going to be moving to the east, 70 miles per hour. And if I can get there we go. So it is going to be in the Parham's area by 5:21. Into Livonia here in just the next 10 minutes. That's going to be there at about 5:27. Moving into Parkertown into Anderson County. That is going to be at about 5:30 this morning. Moving into Townville closer to about 5:40. And then it moves into Northlake by about 5:45. So again, that's how fast this is moving, that this is going to be picking up speed. Think of it as moving as fast as about your car moving along I-85. That's just how quickly this storm is moving. So it's moving at a very good pace right now. So we are keeping and we're continuing to stay on air with you all morning while this tornado warning is ongoing. Some areas that are included in this warning and immediately need to be getting to their safe space are places like Carnes Creek, Mize, into Parham's, Livonia, Fairview, Martin, Whitworth, all of these, Parkertown, right there on the Georgia side of things, Reed Creek, Parkertown, into Hart County, Reed Creek on the Georgia side of things. All of you need to be getting to your safe space immediately. This includes Oakway in Oconee County, as well as Dixon's Crossroads, Townville, right on the border between Oconee and and Anderson County. Clemson included in this. This does include Clemson, and this does include Pendleton as well. So this is an area that you need to be taking great precaution with. Southern Wesleyan University also included in this tornado warning right now. So all of these areas you need to be getting to your safe space immediately. North Lake in Anderson County, and it does include the city of Anderson as well. All of these areas included in this tornado warning. So you need to be getting to your safe space as quickly as you possibly can and staying there. Look at how fast this is moving. That line is already jumping close to the South Carolina-Georgia border. So I'm going to flip back on the velocity product here so we can check on the rotation here. Again, it's not a strong signal with this, but it's at least enough of a signal that there has been a warning issued on this particular storm. This is where we're looking at right now. That's where the rotation could potentially be, that we could be talking about nearing the Avalon area, just to the north of Livonia, nearing Martin and Toms Creek, East Enoli, another area that rotation is very close to right now. So those are areas that you need to be taking shelter immediately. If you are in this tornado warning box, you need to be headed to your safe space right now. This is one of those situations where this is going to be moving very quickly through the area. You're getting that warning now. Anderson and Clemson, yes, the rain hasn't started for you yet, but this is going to be headed your way very quickly as this line is moving at an incredibly fast pace at that 70 miles per hour. And even without this tornado, even in the area without the tornado, we're looking at those strong winds as well, with a severe thunderstorm warning in effect on top of this tornado warning. So we've already got those 60-mile-per-hour winds that are moving through that could be causing power outages, damage to trees on top of that. So not only are we looking at the possibility of rotating winds with this particular storm, but you also have those straight line winds. So all good reasons to be getting to your safe space and staying inside, staying away from any doors and windows. Again, you want to get to the lowest level of your home. You want to be in the interior room. Those are areas that will help you stay safe there. Those are that you want to stay away from your windows and doors. Those are the safe spaces to be. If you've got somebody who's traveling out the door this morning, I know it's early, so a lot of people not necessarily on the roads right now, but if you know somebody who is out on the roadways, make sure that you check in with them and let them know that they need to be getting out of their car and getting into a ditch. That is the safest place to be if you're out on those roadways. Right now, again, this area is being hit the hardest. We've been tracking this line of storms all morning long, and certainly the worst of the weather is on the southern side of this storm. We've been seeing a couple of stronger wind gusts into the mountains with about 50-mile-per-hour winds across parts of our mountains. However, the southern part of this storm, really you can see right here, stretches down through the Athens, Georgia area, down to I-20, where several tornado warnings into central Georgia. So this is the strongest part of the storm that we're going to be continuing to watch, the strongest part of the line of storms. It starts to weaken as you look into the northern part of Oconee County. Not quite as much of an organization there. You notice that some of the rain starts to lighten up, which is what we're seeing with that particular storm. But again, we've got this tornado warning right there as it moves over Oconee and into Anderson County as well. We're watching that storm continue to evolve this morning. That's continuing to push out to the east at about 70 miles per hour, moving at a very fast pace here this morning. Again, we have no ground confirmation, but that doesn't mean that you shouldn't be taking those precautions to get to your safe space as you if you are in this warning. So we are watching this. We're going to continue to stay on air with you while this warning is still in effect. This is going to continue to move at a very quick pace. This warning is in effect until we get to 5:45 this morning, and then we'll start to get some of the all clear in some of these areas. We have a lot of lightning associated with this as well. So this is a pretty a pretty robust storm that's moving through this area. Again, the rotation shown up here is not terribly strong with what we're seeing on this particular these particular scans here. Right now, we're looking at some of that rotation to be kind of in this Martin area near Parham's. That's where we're seeing some of that strongest rotation signal. It's not the strongest signal that you would necessarily see, but still the possibility of that rotation there. When you talk about rotating storms, yes, we're looking at the radar, but sometimes some of these weaker signals can produce some of these weaker tornadoes that do touch down on the ground, which is why these tornado warnings, you need to take them seriously and you need to be getting to your safe space there. This line is continuing to push in out of Georgia into South Carolina, nearing the border right there. This is just to the north of the I-85 corridor right now is where we're seeing some of the worst of the weather. This is a look at the wind velocity. This is a look at the rotation. So yeah, so this is, it's not the strongest signal for sure, but it's still something worth watching as we continue to keep an eye on this and getting those latest radar scans in there as this continues to move out to the east at about 70 miles per hour. Again, even if we don't have a storm on the ground, we're still getting 60-mile-plus-per-hour winds with this storm, which can do a lot of damage. That can cause downed trees at a moment's notice. And then, and we get this latest velocity scan, and so now there's a little bit of a stronger signal showing up here, and it's right about in this Fairview area. That's how fast this is moving, is that as we get these latest scans, these are jumping very quickly closer to the South Carolina border. So right now, this is the line right here that you see. This is the border between Georgia and South Carolina. This particular storm is continuing to move right into, eventually into the southern parts of Oconee County, where that tornado warning is in effect, and we're continuing to watch that. We're keeping this is moving to the east at about 70 miles per hour, and it is going to continue to trek into South Carolina, which is why that warning includes Clemson, into Anderson as well, parts of Oconee as well as Anderson counties included in this particular warning. This is something that you need to be getting to your safe space immediately if you are in this warning area. I'm looking to see if I can get any information, if I'm seeing any reports. This is the only warning that we've got in our area right now. So this is the area of concern. This particular cell is going to continue to track out to the east. So even though right now we've got some areas that aren't even seeing the rain quite yet. Again, Clemson, Anderson, I'm talking to you folks. You haven't seen the weather start to really go downhill, but once it does start to go downhill, it is going to go downhill very quickly here, and then it lightens up quite fast as well. So you can see how small and tight this particular line is that's moving to the east here, moving already through Oakway with some of the worst weather, starting to go downhill. You've got some lightning strikes in that area. You're likely seeing those winds pick up. That is stretching down towards Livonia as well. And we've just got an extension here on this severe thunderstorm warning. So as I mentioned, we've got the tornado warning, which is that red box. And now we've got another tornado or another severe thunderstorm warning that has just been issued for a much wider area as we continue to watch the whole line of storms along with that potential rotation there moving out of Franklin County and into Oconee County. So this new severe thunderstorm warning has been issued now for eastern Franklin County, Elbert County, Hart County, all on the Georgia side. This includes parts of Greenville County, including downtown Greenville, included in the severe thunderstorm warning. Anderson County, Abbeville County, Pickens County, or that northwest corner of Abbeville, all of Pickens County under this warning. as well as Oconee County. That's the severe thunderstorm warning, not the tornado warning. All of these areas shaded in the orange are under a severe thunderstorm warning. So these areas are the areas where you need to be paying attention and getting to your safe space as well. This particular line of storms is moving again very quickly to the northeast at about 75 miles per hour. 60-mile-per-hour winds being produced along this line, even outside of that particular cell that we're continuing to watch. So the weather is going to go downhill very quickly for a lot of you folks here in about the next half hour. So I'm going to go ahead and put a track on the particular line of thunderstorms as we continue to watch that rotation down into Franklin County. But this line of thunderstorms associated with that new severe thunderstorm warning that was just issued, and that's moving to the northeast at 75 miles per hour. That is an incredibly fast pace, even for the line of thunderstorms. It's moving into the Oakway area right about now, moves into Clemson within the next 10 minutes, into Easley by about 5:45 this morning, moves into Anderson at about 5:50, and moving into the Greenville area just before 6 o'clock. And that's when we expect some of the worst of the weather to be moving through the Greenville area. So again, we're going to zoom in on that tornado warning, which is where some of the worst of the weather is is being reported here. We've gotten an update here on the tornado warning box. So we'd have a smaller area that's included in this particular box out there. Georgia, except for this northwest corner, or northeast corner, I should say, of Hart County, has been dropped from the tornado warning. Shoal Creek and Reed Creek on the in Hart County is still included in that, but places like Livonia, into Martin, Toccoa, Carnesville, you have been removed from that tornado warning. You are still under a severe thunderstorm warning, but you no longer have that tornado warning in effect. This is now for Oconee County and down into Anderson County that we are seeing that tornado warning continue across the area. And I'm just now being joined by First Alert Chief Meteorologist Kendra Kent here.
Yeah, and Chrissy, again, you know, this is waking a lot of folks up this morning. I've been looking a lot of the data when it comes to the rotation with this. It's very, very subtle, and that's what happens with these lines. As you've been looking at this all morning, it's hard to pinpoint any really tight, specific rotation within it. But there's so much in the way of wind dynamics in this storm that it has just enough strength and just enough winds aloft that the National Weather Service is watching this one closely, because really with these things you could get a quick spin up tornado, out just about, out of nowhere. We wouldn't want it to sneak up on anyone. But they have decided to continue the warning, and that's going to go until 5:45. So we've got 15 minutes left. The tornado warning continues again for parts of Oconee County down toward Walhalla, or excuse me, not Walhalla, Townville, south of Walhalla, Clemson, Fairplay, Sandy Springs, and then it goes all the way up to Anderson. So, but again, Chrissy, this line is coming into a less favorable environment for development, but it's been so potent, it's really held its strength.
Yeah, and Kendra, as we've been watching this morning, the northern part of this line has been falling apart very nicely, which is what we like to see. That we haven't seen a whole lot of this holding together the further north you go, for places like into North Carolina, where you're not seeing quite as much energy with that. It's the southern part of the line that continues to produce a lot of energy, to produce a lot of those dynamics that are favorable for that possible rotation. As Kendra was just mentioning, we have those winds already over 60 miles per hour. So even outside of that tornado warning, folks still need to be staying put. It's, of course, early on a Sunday morning, so the good news is not a lot of people have a lot of places to go. But it's going to be in and out of here quickly. Look at how tight that line is, Kendra.
I mean, it's, again, one of those situations where you could get woken up and this could move through your neck of the woods in a matter of about 15 minutes. Really, the worst of it is going to come through for you. And again, for those that live north of 85, this is more just going to be a little bit of gusty wind and heavy rain. But at this point, looks like we could be looking at least the possibility of a quick spin-up tornado happening.
Yeah, and so this is why you need to be in your safe space. Things are starting to go downhill in Clemson. So initially when that tornado warning was issued, the skies were still pretty clear at that point, although very foggy out there this morning. On top of this, that line is actually going to come through and clear out a lot of that fog. So if you've been outside and seen how foggy it is, it's going to bring some big improvements in that area. But Clemson, just a little while ago when this initial tornado warning was issued about 15 minutes ago, you had no rain in the area, but now things are starting to go downhill. Anderson, you're still dry out there, even though you are in that tornado warning. And again, I can't emphasize how quickly this is moving here to the east at 70 miles per hour. That is a fast moving line of storms. So you get going downhill very quickly. And then by the time you really kind of get the worst of it, it should be improving quite quickly after that as well. Moving into the Reed Creek area by about 5:43. Clemson, again, you're starting to see things go downhill, but the worst of it moving into your area here in just about the next 4 to 5 minutes. Pendleton at about 5:40. Anderson, you're going to start to see the worst of it here in about the next 10 to 15 minutes, and then into Piercetown at about 5:50 there. So we're going to continue to see things go downhill and then quickly improve behind that with just some light rain on the backside of this line, this very tight line of storms moving through.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, been checking in with National Weather Service, and as they continue to monitor the line, we'll know in the next few minutes whether they want to extend this farther. Right now, you know, again, we're not seeing a lot of overt rotation in the line, and that's a good thing as it's starting to get into the upstate, but it's still just enough that the tornado warning is still being held on to, and we will keep that, you know, we'll stay on the air with you as we continue to have that active warning. But again, if you're just waking up this morning, a tornado warning was issued for a line of storms that's impacting a lot of us, actually. Another thing to think about, too, this morning, it is so foggy. It was very difficult to see anything, you know, kind of coming ahead of you. So be extra careful if you have to head out, not just in these places like Clemson and Anderson, where you've got a pretty significant severe storm rolling in, but also, you know, just the fact that it's just pea soup out there. But there is a severe thunderstorm warning that's been kind of blanket issued over this line that's going to affect areas, and you can see the orange there. That's what where Easley and Greenville are impacted. Also around Elbert County, into the northern part of Greenville County too. So this is for gusty, you know, straight line winds as this rolls on through, and there is still that chance that we could have, you know, a brief spin up tornado happen anywhere along that line. So at this point, again, if you're anywhere located in some of these communities like Clemson, LaFrance, Sandy Springs, Centerville, Central, Pendleton, and then coming out of areas like Livonia, where you're about to be in the clear, Reed Creek. These are spots where you need to be in your safe place now. So let's put up those tornado safety precautions. We'll talk a little bit more about that as we move forward, because we've got these are things that don't happen that often in the winter. You may get out of practice as we move forward. You want to make sure, if you are under a tornado warning, if you're in these communities, you want to get to the lowest floor of your home, away from windows, a hallway, bathroom, closet. Those are good places to be. Typically, every house is different, but you want to protect your head. And abandon mobile homes. In these situations, a more sturdy structure is much better. And that's a decision you really should make ahead of a big tornado event, is to go ahead and get to those more sturdy structures. But with this situation, if you're just waking up, if you're with the family, it's best to get down to that lowest floor, get away from windows, and just get into your safe place, as this won't last very long, but it could be, again, a dangerous situation if we end up with a tornado that quickly spins up. So that's what we're monitoring. Again, here's a look at the latest on radar, as that severe thunderstorm warning for much of the upstate moves toward Greenville County and Anderson County, but the tornado warning is specifically for Oconee County over toward Anderson, Hart County, And you can see right there, and see the little pluses there. Those are positive lightning strikes. Those are the stronger of the lightning strikes. You're going to hear some potentially loud rumbles of thunder, Chrissy.
Yeah. You're talking about some of the safety tips, and this does include a portion of I-85 too as well. So if you know somebody who's traveling I-85 between Georgia and South Carolina today, go ahead and give them a call and let them know that if they're in that tornado warning area in Anderson and Oconee counties, stop the car, get out, get into a ditch. You don't want to stop under an overpass. That is not a good place to be. In fact, you want to pull off just off to the side of the road, away from an overpass, and get into a ditch. So if you have somebody, a loved one who is out traveling on those roadways, give them the heads up. It does look like to me, and Kendra, let me know if you're kind of seeing the same thing, but this line definitely looks like it's starting to weaken. Obviously, it's got a lot of thunder and lightning with it. We still know that there's still the possibility of some winds, but the fact that we're starting to see some of those lighter rain rates come down indicates that there might be a little bit of a weakening pattern happening here.
And that's what was expected. This line just held on to so much momentum and energy as it was coming out of parts of Alabama and Georgia. It was able to overcome our less than ideal environment and for a while, but again, it's eventually going to start to simmer down as it moves through. But again, that's why we're here this morning and on the air, is because this one kind of outperformed. We're looking at the strongest part of the line currently near Anderson. In fact, you can kind of see here, the area that we've been watching has been right up here along the advancing edge of this line. And to pick out a specific spot of rotation has been difficult, but we've seen that individual area of rotation not too far from North Lake, right near I-85. And it has been moving consistently off toward the east. So again, that puts us into Pendleton, Anderson, Campbell, Piedmont over the next few minutes. So again, this is a fast moving storm that ought to be in and out pretty quickly, but that can also make it extra dangerous too. We've got a lot of wind energy with this right now, Chrissy.
Yeah, and I've got the precipitation layers on here, where it also shows that shows some of the cooler air just down to our south. I'd also be paying attention down here into southern parts of Hart County, down into Elbert County, that we might start to see some hail mixing in. When you see those grays, that's indicating that we've got some cooler air aloft that we might want to watch out for. Again, not necessarily to severe level, but certainly something that we could start to see mixing in with that southern part of the line that's moving through Hart County down into Elbert County and eventually into Anderson County as well.
That's a great point, Chrissy. Another thing, you go farther south down toward Hartwell, that segment of the line is the one that's actually flared up in the last few frames. So, just indicating that part of the line is getting stronger, but tracking any rotation with it, I don't see anything that's really defined right now, but National Weather Service will be monitoring this with us as well. And if we see any signs that there could be a tornado developing down there, we'll let you know. That is included right now in a severe thunderstorm warning. Again, the whole line going through the upstate is pretty much warned on at this point for the potential for very strong wind. So bottom line, I think many folks are probably waking up and just turning on or popping in and out. But just to give you a recap, we have a severe thunderstorm warning for this line that's going all the way through the upstate, and it extends from the northern part of Pickens County down toward Anderson County into northeast Georgia. Now, the part of the line, and Chrissy's drawing a storm track on it right now, the part of the line that's going to be in Greenville likely toward the 6 a.m. hours. This is even earlier than anticipated. We've been talking 7, 8 o'clock, maybe as early as 6. So this is on the early end of arrival for us. And then behind the initial line, Chrissy, here, there's really not going to be any severe weather threats. This is going to be a short window this morning. But again, arriving in Anderson just in the next few minutes, and then Greenville likely in about 15 minutes, Chrissy.
Yeah, I still keep harping on how fast this is moving in and out of here. 70 to 75 miles per hour is how fast this is moving. So think about just about as fast as you would be going on I-85 or 385 if you were going a little above the speed limit, I guess, there. But still, if you're driving down those interstates, that's about how fast this line is moving. Whereas, on a normal day, we get a lot of these thunderstorms that kind of move through the area between about 45 and 50 miles miles per hour is kind of a more of a typical, I think, speed for these. So these are, it's going to go downhill very quickly, and then it's going to, as you just mentioned, improve very quickly as these lines of storm, as this one particular line of storms moves through at just such a quick pace. Anderson is still at this point probably foggy out there right now, not seeing a whole lot of rain, possibly hearing some of this thunder, but within the next 5 minutes, things are really going to start to go downhill quite a bit here in Anderson.
Okay, so we just got National Weather Service word that they are going to let the tornado warning expire, not seeing any, real reason to keep it going. As we were talking about, showing a weakening trend. So since that is happening in the next couple of minutes, we're going to go back to regular programming here, but we will be here watching for you. But again, that tornado warning for Anderson is set to expire at 5:45 and will be expiring. So we will update you and keep you posted. You can always get the latest at foxcarolina.com and through our apps, our Fox Carolina First Alert Weather app. But hopefully this, if you woke up this morning, popping in here, we just want to remind you there has been a tornado warning that's for the storm moving into Anderson, but it is now likely going to expire. Now, I can't guarantee additional ones won't be issued, but we've seen promising signs this line is weakening. So we will continue to update you, and if you can remain indoors away from windows as this whole line moves through, it should be in and out of the upstate, Chrissy, really within the next hour to hour and a half. So we'll be here watching it for you, and we'll head on back to regular programming.
Comes